The Japanese version of this video has been viewed over 4 million times. Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you how to drill a clean-through hole. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Shu, a furniture craftsman. Have you ever tried drilling a through hole and ended up with a messy result like this? If so, this video is just for you. By watching this, you'll learn how to make a clean, beautiful hole like this one. I'll also share a trick that lets you avoid drilling a through hole altogether. So if you were just about to start drilling, lucky you. You might not have to do it at all. This is the same method we actually use at furniture factories, and the best part is, you don't need any special skills to pull it off. So definitely give it a try. Here's what we'll cover in this video. First up, the mindset for drilling clean-through holes. There are some key points that apply to all clean drilling, so I'll start off by quickly sharing the conclusion. Next, the second part. Hands-on drilling with a power drill. I'll show you how we actually do it, with different tools and methods depending on the size of the hole. And lastly, the third part. What not to do. This section covers common mistakes to avoid when drilling through holes. And I'll also show you a situation where you might not need to drill a through hole at all. So, those are the 3 main points we'll be going over today. So, the first point. The mindset for drilling clean-through holes. The key is, drill from the other side too. The clean hole I showed you in the intro was also drilled from both sides. Now, some of you might be thinking, ugh, that sounds like a hassle. But actually, even in real furniture factories, we drill from the opposite side too. That's because the moment the drill breaks through, it tends to chip or splinter. So honestly, it's just physically impossible. When you drill from the top, the entry side always looks clean, right? So all you have to do is drill from the opposite side as well. In this part, I'll walk you through the method, the different types of drill bits, their pros, and things to watch out for. You might be watching and thinking, wait, I don't have that kind of drill. But no worries at all. As long as you drill from the opposite side, you can still get a clean finish, so there's no need to go out and buy anything special. Just take this as a little reference in case you ever decide to get a new drill someday. First up is the auger bit with a screw tip. I know the name sounds a bit technical, but I personally use this all the time. Let me show you the full process first. You just drill like normal. Then, if you check the other side, you'll see the tip of the bit poking through and stopping right there. All you have to do next is place the drill on that little hole and continue. And boom, you've got yourself a nice, clean through hole. Pretty simple, right? What makes this bit special is its tip. It's got a screw-like spiral at the end. And that actually makes it super easy to drill clean holes all the way through. Let me tell you the biggest advantage of this bit. And that is, you don't need to mark the other side. Remember, to make a clean through hole, you're supposed to drill from both sides, right? Which usually means you have to go around and mark the opposite side too. But that's kind of a pain, isn't it? Well, with this drill bit, you don't need to do any of that. Why? Because when the drill breaks through, the tip pokes out and stops automatically. So why does it stop on its own? It's because once it breaks through, there's no more wood for the screw tip to grip onto. Up to that point, the screw part pulls itself forward as it bites into the wood. But once it comes out the other side, there's physically nothing left to pull on, so it just stops. That means you can skip the whole step of marking the back side, which makes things way easier. After that, just drill into the little hole from the other side, and you'll get a nice clean through hole. Let me share 2 things to watch out for when using this drill bit. The first one is, it doesn't always stop 100% of the time, so be careful. If you're working with really hard wood, or if the wood is super thick and you need to drill deep, the bit might just push straight through without stopping. So once you've drilled in pretty far, take a quick look at the other side, and if you see the tip just barely poking through, go ahead and stop. Then switch sides and finish the hole from the back. If you're using softwood like the kind sold at home improvement stores, you probably don't need to worry too much. But with thicker boards like 2x4s, just be aware that it might not stop on its own. The second thing to watch out for is, avoid using large diameter bits. When the diameter gets bigger, especially once you go over 1 centimeter, it tends to wobble while drilling. And when that happens, not only does it mess up your through hole, but it also makes it hard to drill a clean hole in general. So if you're working with a bit that's 1 centimeter or larger in diameter, I recommend using a different type of drill bit instead. From my own experience, even with an 8mm bit, it starts to feel a little iffy. Don't worry though, I'll introduce a good drill bit for larger holes in the next part. Alright, now let's talk about what kind of drill bit and method to use when you need to make a larger hole. If you want to drill a clean, large through hole, I recommend using a Forstner bit. It does take a bit more force, but it's actually easier to handle than the auger bit. So let's walk through the process. First, we'll make a shallow cut. Just enough to mark the outline like this. Now, we'll do the same on the other side to mark it as well. Next, we switch to a 3mm drill bit. Then, using the center point of the Forstner bit as a guide, drill straight down vertically. Use this to drill straight down vertically. Then switch back to the Forstner bit and continue drilling the rest of the hole. Now, why did we make the marks first? That's to create a clean edge around the hole. Drill bits stay stable because their pointed tips dig into the wood and help them rotate smoothly. But if you drill a 3mm hole first, the big bit might wobble and mess up the clean edge. So instead, we just mark the outline first. That's the idea. Here's a little tip for you. When you need to drill both a large hole and a smaller hole in the same spot, make sure to drill the larger hole first. And here's why. If you drill the smaller hole first, the spot where the larger bit's tip needs to bite into will be gone. For example, if you drill a 1 centimeter hole first, there won't be anything left for the center point of the larger bit to grab onto. And as you can see in the video, that causes it to wobble and messes up the clean edge. But if you drill the bigger hole first, the material for the smaller bit's tip will still be there. That way, you can drill without wobbling. And you'll also get nice, clean alignment between the two holes, a win-win. So, why did we drill that 3mm hole? It's to create a guide path for drilling straight. You might be thinking, can't I just drill straight in with the larger bit? But with a Forstner bit, it's actually pretty tricky to drill straight. You'll see what I mean if you try it. It's really tough to keep it vertical. That's why we first drill a 3mm hole straight down, so the Forstner bit has a guide to follow and stays on track. If you're working with harder wood, it might not go in straight on its own, so be careful and take your time when drilling. And if you don't have a 3mm drill bit, no worries. Even a 2mm bit works just fine. The point is just to make a little guide hole for the center tip of the Forstner bit to follow. Also, as you can see in the video, it does take a bit of force to drill with this bit, but pre-drilling that small hole makes the whole process a lot easier. Kind of like punching holes in lotus root. Definitely give it a try. Alright, to wrap things up, let me share 2 things you should avoid when trying to drill clean through holes. The first one is putting a scrap board underneath and drilling through both layers. Now, let me explain what I mean. As you saw in the intro, wood tends to split at the moment the drill breaks through. So some of you might think, if there's more wood underneath, maybe it won't split? But actually, this method doesn't really work. Let me show you what happens. Drilling through like usual. Now let's check the other side. Here it is. The hole on the right is the one I showed you earlier in the intro. The one on the left is the one I just made. It's a little better than drilling with nothing underneath, but honestly, it's still not what I'd call clean. There might have been a tiny invisible gap between the boards right as the drill broke through. I even clamped them down tightly to avoid that, but still couldn't get a super clean result. So if you're aiming for a clean finish, I'd recommend not using this method. Alright, now for the second thing you shouldn't do, running a dowel rod through a through hole. Let me explain what that means. Let's say you want to build a shelf like this. To make it, you might plan to drill round through holes into the boards like this. Then take a round dowel rod from the hardware store and slide it through to complete the shelf. Like the one on the left here. So why is this a bad idea? Why can't you just stick a dowel into a hole? Simple answer, because it doesn't work. Huh? You're probably thinking, if I drill a through hole and push a round dowel through it, it should fit, right? Actually, it doesn't. And here's why: the dowels sold in stores aren't precisely measured. For example, say you drill a 3 cm hole and want to run a 3 cm dowel through it. 3 cm is the same as 30 mm, right? That 3 cm might actually be 30.1 mm, just a little too big, or 29.9 mm, which is slightly too small. If it's a bit too big, it won't fit in the hole at all. And if you force it through, it might scratch up the sides of the hole on the way out. If it's too small, it'll leave a visible gap around the edges of the hole. That's why I really recommend avoiding this method. In actual furniture factories, we cut the dowels and join them piece by piece instead. Running a single dowel straight through like this? That's something we almost never do, unless there's a very special reason. So, if you were thinking of drilling a clean hole and sliding a dowel through it, please, don't use this method. Alright, this video got a bit long, so let's wrap things up with a quick summary. First, we talked about how to drill clean through holes. And the key takeaway was, drill from the other side too. This is the golden rule for clean holes. Next, in the hands-on section using drill bits, we looked at 2 types of drill bits. The first was the auger bit. This one makes things easier because you don't need to mark the other side of the board. But remember, it's not ideal for large diameters since it tends to wobble. The second was the Forstner bit. This one's great for drilling larger through holes. And lastly, we covered things you should not do, common mistakes to avoid. The first no-no was putting a scrap board underneath while drilling. We learned that this method doesn't really give you a clean result. The second was trying to pass a dowel through a through hole. If you were thinking of building furniture by threading a dowel straight through, hopefully now you realize you don't need to drill a through hole at all, which makes things easier. Instead, just cut the dowel to size and assemble it using dowel joints.
I've got you on